In a little house in the countryside lived a little cat. She'd been born in the shelter and had never seen the outside world. All she knew was the routine. Every day, people would come to the shelter to find a new friend, but they would always leave, and she'd never get picked. She didn't know why, but it made her sad. She wished more than anything to have a home and a family who loved her. Every night before going to sleep, the little cat would look out of the window and gaze at the moon. She'd imagine herself outside playing with butterflies in a field of tall grass. She dreamed of chasing mice and birds and living a life full of adventure. But when she woke up, she'd find herself back in the same cage, sniffing the same old blanket, waiting for the same old day. One day, a young girl came to the shelter. She wasn't there to find a dog or a rabbit like most people. She wanted a cat. The little cat rubbed against the bars of her cage, purring as loud as she could. But the girl walked past without even looking at her. The little cat felt dejected. Maybe she wasn't meant to be loved. Maybe she'd spend her whole life alone. That night, the little cat didn't bother dreaming of the outside world. What was the point? Her life was here, in the shelter, and that's all it would ever be. As the sun rose, the little cat curled up in the corner of her cage, trying to make herself as small as possible. She was so tired of everything. Suddenly, she heard a familiar sound, the sound of a key in the lock. She looked up to see the girl from yesterday opening her cage. "You," the girl said softly, holding out her hand. The little cat hesitated, then rubbed against her fingers. It was the first time she'd ever been touched by a human, and it felt nice. The girl cradled her close, and the little cat purred, feeling more loved in that moment than she ever had before. The girl took her out of the shelter and into the world. At first, the little cat was scared. There were so many new sounds and smells. But the girl kept reassuring her, telling her that she was safe now. She was never going back to that place. Finally, they arrived at a house. The girl opened the door, and the little cat hesitantly stepped inside. She looked around, taking in all the sights and sounds. Then she noticed a big, comfy bed in the corner. She'd never had a bed before. All she'd ever known was cold concrete floors. As the days passed, the little cat became more and more curious about the outside world. The girl played with her in the garden, and the little cat chased butterflies and basked in the warm sunshine. For the first time in her life, she felt truly happy. One night, the little cat had the same dream she'd had so many times before. She was running through a field of tall grass, chasing a butterfly. But this time, something was different. This time, the grass felt real beneath her paws. The butterfly fluttered around her, and the flowers smelled sweet and fresh. The little cat felt the wind in her fur and heard the birds singing in the trees. It was the most amazing dream she'd ever had. Then, suddenly, she woke up. She opened her eyes and gasped. She wasn't in her bed. She was in the field from her dream. The butterfly from her dream was sitting on her nose. The little cat looked around in wonder. All the things she'd only dreamed of seeing, she was now seeing in real life. The little cat meowed, and the butterfly flew away. That's when the girl came running over. "You're awake," she said, kneeling down beside her. "I knew you'd like the countryside." The little cat purred and rubbed against the girl. She couldn't believe her dream had come true. She was finally outside in the world, and it was everything she'd imagined and more. As the sun rose, the little cat stretched and yawned, feeling more alive than she ever had before. She looked over at the girl, sleeping peacefully, and purred. She was so lucky to have found her. And as the two of them dozed in the morning sun, the little cat knew she was exactly where she was meant to be.